Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Spudley, to session number 37 here. We finally got the whole band back together. The hell? Okay. I'm going to turn that off. But yeah, if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and jump back into things. I'll try to go back a little bit further since Spudley's just now joining us. I don't know if you watched any of the VODs or anything, so if not, we'll this will be a little bit of a
I'm down
refresher.
for a bit of a recap.
Okay. Well, last time in Simply Another Band of Curiously Odd Travelers, our party had traveled to the Spokes to meet with the Queen of Thieves, a de facto faction leader here within the city of Drakkenheim, kind of running the whole of the criminal underworld here in the dilapidated remains of the city, in the power vacuum that had occurred post-Civil War and the massive otherworldly meteor strike that had destroyed the city, not only bringing this area into chaos and ruin, but delivering an even greater long-term threat, potentially, of these powerfully dense magical crystals known as delirium, and of course the contaminating effects of the fog-like substance that spread out from them known as the haze. The party had traveled after taking some respite within the barracks of the Hooded Lanterns, gathering new weapons, new armaments, various odds and ends here and there, and also discussing with various peoples of import within the barracks of the Hooded Lanterns, individuals like Eldrick Runeweaver, as well as Elias Drexel, the leader of the Hooded Lanterns. Georgio received a powerful new set of armor infused with delirium crystals made by the talented blacksmith Tobias Crow and members of the Academy. Others of you received new armaments and a few more unique utility items. Tim formally rejoined the Amethyst Academy, now bound to the will of the Directorate, the ruling body of the Amethyst Academy. After a few days' time to rest and recuperate and gather your things, you headed towards the Spokes and, of course, Buckle Down Row, this ramshackle bar district and den of thieves and murderers and mercenaries and all those who simply just don't have a place within this location of the continent. Along your trip to the Spokes and Buckle Down Row, you crossed the leaving portions of the Silver Order Knights and members of the Church of the Sacred Flame, leaving through Temple Gate after their leader, the Knight Commander Theodore Marshall, was unceremoniously slain. Most of these individuals not understanding whom or how this individual came to find their end, but we all know what really occurred. But nevertheless, you pass through safely as members of the Hooded Lanterns seem to guide the bulk of their remaining troops, their morale all but shattered in this moment. In addition to that, after passing over the Dran River by way of the Styx Ferry, you encountered an individual you had not seen in many days, but nonetheless had a powerful presence to her. You crossed paths with Lucretia Matthias and some members of her congregation, the members of the Falling Fire, a splinter sect of the Church of the Sacred Flame that, as you know, sees the calamity that this meteor strike brought, and the delirium itself is not necessarily an inherent evil thing, but a sort of divine signal to things to come in the future. She offered to give you, to discuss with you all some dealings within the city, as well as provided you a bit of what little wisdom you could garner from such a unique individual, this strange oddity here within the city of Drakkenheim and no other location within the continent. But your path was already set towards Buckledown Row to meet with Christian Lament and make good on your promise to potentially have a meeting with this Queen of Thieves. As you arrived in Buckledown Row, the sort of air of the situation was you were being given a wide berth, but at the same time you could feel the eyes of many individuals upon you, especially upon entering the familiar tavern where you found Christian drinking, enjoying like many times before. Nevertheless, you had a few discussions, a few back and forths, before realizing at least this version or person who claimed to be Christian was at least the person you last spoke with. Unsure of what was going on in this whole kerfuffle in past dealings with this so-called individual known as Christian Lament. After these discussions, you headed down below into what you could only imagine is the former storm, or perhaps just general sewers of the city of Drakkenheim and this portion of the city down below. And he guided you into this even more destitute but strange speakeasy that was made out of the remains of one of these dammed off storm tunnels, where you found an even more eclectic group of thieves and mercenaries, and what seemed to be more of the closer company to some of the higher ranking members of the Queensmen organization. After some back and forth discussions with Christian, he left you all for some time, perhaps even a couple hours. You passed a bit of that time gambling a bit with everyone's favorite friend, Blackjack Mel, within the makeshift bar, before you became a bit impatient and asked the bartender the million-dollar question. How do we speak with the Queen of Thieves? Or how do we have an audience with the Queen? After which he gave you a sort of riddle and placed before you a number of drinks, stating that you should drink in the Queen's name and then pass through this strange tunnel full of this odorless, semi-green, but very opaque gas that filled this chamber. And after thinking about what was discussed with the bartender, you all opted not to drink anything at all and headed through the tunnel, seeing through the guise of this strange riddle that many of these individuals were all hoping and praying that you failed. But nevertheless, you managed to find yourself in a darkened chamber, hearing the voices of many surrounding you as torches were lit up all around you. And then directly in front of you, you found yourself looking at a strange sort of bar maiden. And then all around, surrounding you now, were various members of the Queen's men, and of course, many of the Queen's lieutenants, her higher ranking individuals, sort of stood at attention at the front of this sort of audience chamber, smirking and simply waiting to see what would happen. You all discussed back and forth with this strange sort of humbly dressed individual before a number of times they proceeded to swipe their fingertips across their hat, and their appearance changed entirely. A few times to individuals you recognize, such as Eldrick Runeweaver, Elias Drexel, and of course, before revealing their true form, an individual that all but one of you did not recognize at all, a dark-haired female Goliath woman. But Georgio, you recognize this individual instinctively as the visage of your late mother. As if taunting you through the remainder of this discussion, the Queen of Thieves finally dropped this act, and you found yourself in the presence of a dark-haired woman wearing very fine red leather vest and pants, and a large sort of Carmen Sandiego-esque feathered cap, and a darkened mask that covered most of her eyes and face with this sort of octarine light, a beautifully adorned rapier at her hip, as she smirked and stared at you in her true form for the first time. After a bit of discussion, she offered you a challenge. Best her champion in her private fighting pits, and she would reward you with a seal of the city from her personal stash.
Yeah.
After which you were escorted down into the private fighting pit by a bugbear named Sweaty, one of the former lieutenants of, well, at that time, no longer, not a former lieutenant, but
He didn't know that.
at the time, no. But after preparing the fighting pit, the escape ladders were not raised as this large door opened up and a emaciated, ravenous, massive T-Rex-like creature stomped out and proceeded to tear Sweaty in two before turning their eyes on you. This albino-like creature of the haze you now found had the name Big Linda, a heinous creature of Drakenheim. You went toe-to-toe with this creature. Its brutality, nothing to scoff at, but nonetheless you were successful in subduing this creature, driving Ignatius directly through its upper jaw. Although you don't remember this.
It was a glorious moment.
It was a beautiful kill. But nevertheless, with Big Linda slain in the base of the private fighting pit, you were not given a seal of the city, but a note from one of the lieutenants of the Queen of Thieves, a sort of pinkish-purple skinned tiefling by the name of Lies, swiftly wrote something in her book before a enchanted sort of paper airplane flew into your hands with a note that read. If somebody would like to read that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. The note from Lies.
Oh, I got it right here.
We are certain the Chancellor's crest is somewhere within an establishment called the Black Ivory Inn. The inn is just outside the King's Gate. Our agents have not returned in 2 weeks' time. The location appears to be occupied, but all attempts to scout the location have resulted in missing agents. If you return, feel free to parley with Her Majesty the Queen further. Worm regards, Lies.
Now, as you were permitted to exit the hidden speakeasy bar and fighting pits of the Queensmen, with a bit of, well, more than a lot of heavy wounds, you find yourselves on the outskirts of Buckledown Row and the Spokes. Potential meeting with Lucretia, or just simply a return to the barracks or wherever you would like to try to rest, or perhaps other matters at hand. It is now the dying light of the evening at this moment. What would you like to do?
I'm fucked up, so we cannot get into trouble.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot of pain.
You and also I believe Tim, if I'm
Yep.
remembering right, the two of you
Yep,
all were
I'm not
bad
great.
beat up. Me and Chugrulk were decent at best.
I got done eating, I think, right? Does that happen?
Yeah, you got chomped and then
Yeah.
chomped some
A lot of-
more.
Yeah, a lot of us
Mhm.
got chomped, turns out.
And covered in acid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Chugrulk, you got chomped and we left you being chomped for a little bit while we did other stuff. You were fine, you're fine.
Yikes.
But I did want to let you know that did happen.
That did. Okay.
But you put a flaming sword through a giant T-Rex's
Yeah,
I
jaw.
did hear that. Yeah.
You did the
It was
same
pretty
thing
epic.
you
Big
Very
Linda.
rad.
I'm not gonna lie. I just want to throw this out there. I love the design of that.
Yeah,
I saw the
Big
picture.
Linda's
That looks
cool
really
looking.
cool. Yeah.
But if I'm remembering right, you were being chomped when the sword was thrust through. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was like as cool as it could have possibly been.
Let me go ahead and pull up the map for you all, if that makes things a little bit easier to make your decisions of what you would like to do.
I didn't get to see a photo of Sweaty. I believe he wasn't as that important then. Before he was ripped limb from limb.
No, not exactly.
Okay. Oh shit.
But right now, you all are about the south end of the spokes here, right at this intersection, right in the center here.
I do think that we should be careful finding a place to rest.
Know that at this distance, you would have to travel a bit south, or you would need to travel someplace. Right now, you're still within the effects of the haze, so no long rest can be taken.
Yeah.
You can certainly take a short rest, but long rests are out of the question until you find a place outside of the haze.
So, is there a place in Buckle Down Road that we could take a short rest? Because I think that before we set out for anything, that would be very helpful for our two nearly dead party members.
I would like that.
Yeah.
You can certainly do that.
There is places there, so like before we leave.
Yeah, there's a number of ramshackle inns and bars and things like that in that area. Whether or not the, proprietors care too much for the safety and well-being of their residents is a different question. Specifically ones as high profile as yourselves. But that is always an option.
I would say that I think Chugrulk and I are healthy enough that we could bodyguard, just stay on alert during a short rest, which is just a few hours.
For the average person, it's a short rest is just an hour. You can take a
1
short
hour,
rest
yeah.
right here in a building if you wanted to. Considering you would need to potentially keep watch. You are in a dangerous area here.
Yeah.
You are still within the outskirts of the city.
Mhm.
Not perhaps the most dangerous area by any measure within Drakenheim, but still a dangerous area.
Yeah. I would be willing to bet, personally, and I'm not the one that's almost dying, but I'd be willing to bet that if we go back to Buckle Down Row and get like an inn or something, even though ostensibly there are more dangerous people there, I think that they would give us our space. And we wouldn't, not to stay the night, but just for an hour or two to get some health recovery back on a short rest. Roll if you hit that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Sounds like a plan.
It's up to you guys, really. I just think that that's a good idea, just to get some health back. But
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm down to listen at this stage.
Okay. Well, who is leading this march back to Buckle Down Row?
Certainly ain't me.
Yeah, I will. Sure.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check to see if you can spot yourself a location you might be able to take a bit of time to recover.
Here is an 11 on the dice. Perception is +6, so it's 17.
The 17. Let me go ahead and pull. I can just bring that map back up since we did have that. Okay. So you guys would be down here. You can put your tokens down if you want. If not, it's just a visual representation here. But you would be down here on the south side of Buckle Down Row at current. Get that in frame there. You can see with that perception check that the building you had entered perhaps might have some potentially free beds, as it is one of the larger buildings, but you might see a lot more eyes in that location. You see a lot of people as you kind of return back into this area. You can already see some of the individuals up on the rooftops that you've seen many times now are already beginning to eye you from a distance. But there are a number of other buildings that you can see. Some of the one across the street seems to have a third story where there's a number of darkened and undarkened windows above, with a pitched roof. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people on that rooftop. There's some across the way on the more flattened portions of slanted roof on the building you had gone into previously. But the one across the street seems to have potentially some available rooms, at least for a short period of time.
Yeah. Well, let's go take a look. I think that...
Okay. As you all enter the edge of this sort of bar and inn, it's just as rowdy as any of the other places here. You can see just outside the bar, there's a number of individuals that are already in fist fights, and it's barely past dusk at this point. There's some other individuals. You can smell the definitive scent of stale piss and stale beer, and potentially some vomit here and there. Yeah. It's very ramshackle. A lot of the boards are very waterlogged and either broken or the wood is very grayed. A lot of the siding on the outside of this building has either turned color or is cracked or has completely fallen off, and you can see the more internal workings of these thatched buildings filled with pine tar and other corded insulation. Very old styling. But as you enter, you can see there's a number of individuals that immediately kind of give you the side eye. Nobody really approaches you immediately, but you're definitely being clocked by probably half a dozen individuals as you enter this building.
Okay. Is there a proprietor that we can see?
Yes, there's an old dwarven man behind the bar. You can see he's up on like a raised platform. He's got like a salt and pepper beard that goes down to his navel. One of his eyes is heavily wounded. He has a scar like on the outside, and the eye itself is like clouded over, and the other eye is kind of darting around in a very unusual manner. Like it shouldn't be able to move that quickly. But nevertheless, you watch as you kind of enter and head towards the bar. That eye just turns without his head turning and like eagle eyes the four of you.
He's got a pretty distinctive visage. Would we recognize him as somebody who watched the fight by chance?
Give me a general intelligence check to see if you can remember some of the faces.
I rolled in that one.
You have no fucking clue.
Okay.
They
Just
might
a
as
guy.
well have been toddlers as far as you remember.
Okay. Anyway.
You can see him grabbing a few mugs off the back taps and slamming him on the bar. Oi, Ronald! Next round's up! Get him out! What have you been wanting? Hurry up, I got shit to do.
Just a room for 2 hours.
Alright. 20 gold.
I look back at the other guys and say, does anybody have enough gold for a room for a few hours? For 2 hours.
Yeah, I think I can scrounge some up, and I rustle through my my pouch real quick, and I pretend to keep rustling through, just pulling random stuff out, and eventually get to 20, hopefully.
Nice. And he scoops it up in his hand. I would have given it to you for 2 silver, but if you're going to give me the 20.
Cool.
Tosses you a key on the end of this plank of wood that's rotting, but seems to be in order. Should be clean. I don't think anybody died in there recently. It's all yours for the next 2 hours. Upstairs, the door on the left. And you can see there's a staircase to the left-hand side up there.
Okay, let's move. No reason to waste time. Let people watch us. I would be on high alert as we come around. So I don't know if you want to do a perception check, see if anybody's
You're all welcome to
Around
make a
the corner.
perception.
or waiting on us. I've got a 13.
13. Anybody else?
Sure.
Not me.
Or 10.
I don't think I would be too worried. I would just be trying to get to the room as quick as possible at this point.
Sure.
You can see there's a few people eyeing you as you go up there, but you don't see anybody like directly following you for the time being. Upstairs, you can see, you can hear movement and rustling through a number of these closed doors. A handful of flickering lantern lights from behind the doors. These things are old, a lot of them. You can tell that the building on one side, like the foundation, has kind of settled. So some of these doors are cocked. So you can definitely see like there's a portion of like, normally you would either see no light or very like a straight line across the top or bottom of a door. These you can see like one part is like very evident. Like there's big gaps, and then the other side's like right up against the frame. So signs that this whole building is kind of like shifted over time. But as you come to the third door and slide the key into the lock, it turns without issue. It opens up into a small room. It's probably no more than 15 foot by 12 foot. Single bed, a small basin on a small bedside table. There's a couple oil lanterns at each end. One's on an old like rusty sort of candelabra post, and it's kind of just been like makeshift forge welded onto the bottom of this lantern base. And then the other one's just sitting on that little table. No windows in the room, just a relatively simple room. The bed looks like it's beat to shit, but it has a mattress.
That's neat.
But that you have a room for the next 2 hours. What would you all like to do?
Heal.
Yeah, I think the two of you need to rest. Tim, you don't sleep yet?
I do not sleep, but I would not mind leaning against this wall. Not to sleep. Not to sleep.
Not
Just-
sleep.
Just to lean.
Go into standby mode.
Is there a chair?
There's no chair, but there's a small 3-legged stool beside the table. A singular stool.
Oh, yeah. What's on our side of the door?
Inside the room,
is
or
just a
the...
regular? Yeah, is it just like a regular handle, or?
Yeah, it's just a handle, and then like the lock and the handle are a singular piece that are hammered together from the opposite side, from your side, so somebody can't like pry the nails out and rip the door handle out. But the actual like locking mechanism is on the bottom half of the handle. It's like one solid, continuous piece.
Let's just lock the door and then grab a stool and sit near the door on watch. I suppose it would be smart to turn the lights out as well.
As you turn the lights out, you can see that there's a number of people kind of walking through the hallway, and you can hear movement on the other side, Giorgio, with that previous perception check. As you kind of listen in, you can definitely feel like there's somebody who's like testing the door to see if you perhaps left it unlocked.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like pushing against the bottom of the door, but when they realize that nothing's moving or that something's holding it from the other side, you can see that they halt their testing, and you hear those footsteps kind of walk away.
This is me on high alert.
But the time you sit in this room, other than the initial maybe about 10 or 15 minutes in where you get that sort of pushing against the bottom of the door and the little, handful of shadows underneath the door that you can see as the light kind of casts them inward. Other than that, you don't sense...
Did I have time...
Go ahead.
Just during this, did I have time for a short rest as well, or is this
Yeah,
like
you can all take a
yeah.
short rest. You're all resting for at least an hour, if not 2.
Yeah, cool.
So you
Just
can roll
making
your
sure I'm
hit
gauging that
dice,
right.
get back anything you need from a short rest.
Do
Yeah.
I also get one? I would think not, because I am on high alert.
As long as you're not doing anything strenuous, you still get the short rest, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can be on alert, like you can be watching and do shifts. As long as, like, same thing with a long rest. As long as you get the total of 8 hours, roughly, it doesn't all have to be at the same time. You can still get that, but as far as a short rest is concerned, you just need an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just roll hit dice, correct? I don't have to press any of these squares.
Yeah, well, you pick how many you want to
Check
roll.
the ones. Yeah, check the ones you want to roll.
Oh, right.
Right,
that
because
just
you have a
one then?
certain amount that you have stored up. So
Yeah.
if you only collect one, you're only going to roll 1 die.
I didn't click any, and it just, I think, just rolled 1 just then, right?
Right, if you don't click any, I think it defaults to 1.
To 1.
But you can roll as many as you would like to get as many hit points back as you would
Yeah, I
ideally
might
try to
roll.
get.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might roll more than 1.
So it's one roll for every level, right? That's what I can do.
Yeah, so it depends on your class. So you have 2 different classes. So you have 5 levels in Artificer and 5 levels in Wizard. So you have
Yeah.
5
I see the
d8s and 5
calculation.
d6. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I got it.
makes up
Cool.
the total of your hit dice. Because the Wizard's hit dice is a d6, not a d8.
Got it.
I couldn't get it to work for multiple die for some reason.
Yeah, I think I was struggling too.
Yeah. For the 2
That's a good-
fighters in the group, you do get your fighter-ish, I think your action surge and your your second wind back as well.
Which is very nice.
And I think, Tim, you have a thing that you can, I think, get a spell slot back. I forget, it's like Arcane Recovery or something.
Yeah, let me do one thing at a time.
If you click the short rest button, it automatically does all of
Yep.
that for you.
Yeah, the problem is that I guess I fucked up, and what happened was that I hit roll hit die for the first time, so it didn't automatically calculate my first results, and I gotta run it back and read. Yeah, so I just gotta manually add it, and I think, yeah, here I can just do that. That works because it just didn't do my first 12. Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
All right, so I did 3.
While you guys are doing that, is there anything anybody specifically, other than, you know, just your mechanical stuff, that you would like to do or discuss or try to do in this period of time that we didn't already mention? Because you do have 2 hours in here. You only need an hour for a short rest.
I do think any discussion should be held later. I don't think that, like, a conversation, I think would, if people are listening, that obviously, or just talking in general might draw attention to people who are roaming the halls.
Yeah, I don't trust this place.
This is, I think, we should be, I think, as utilitarian as possible. And if we've booked it for 2 hours and we leave after 1, people who are waiting in ambush may not be ready. I don't know.
We shall see.
So, as soon as it's done, I think that we should just be ready to go, unless anybody else thinks otherwise.
Down to clown with leaving. I believe I healed correctly. I'm just trying to confirm that. I gave myself 24 healing, and I rolled 3 hit dice, which was 8, 12, and then 4, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I've just healed myself for 24. Just, yeah, making sure that because I haven't done that in a while.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, and double check. You should have your action surge and your second wind back as well.
Oh, yeah, I'll check that now.
So if they're still checked, you can uncheck them because you should get those back as a short rest.
Oh, yeah. All that's back.
I don't see my rolls in there. Whenever I did it, it automatically did the rolls, the digital ones.
Oh, so I just clicked 3 and just
But
to remind myself.
But I have more health, I think, because I don't remember having 71. So I think I.
Do you have the
Yeah, yours is
integration
showing
thing set up
I
for
do,
beyond
but-
20?
but I didn't see it, which is fine. I just.
As long as
I
you have
think
your
I-
health, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
I've got the health that
yeah,
I
nitpick
think
it,
I
yeah.
rolled worse than that.
I just manually
and
checked
I'm
mine,
looking
yeah.
at it, and I'm like, this. I just think it's a little strange.
Given the amount of hit
Okay.
dice you probably have, I would
It's
imagine you're
fine.
pretty close. Yeah,
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm not gonna nitpick it at this point.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
Literally used all of mine except for my last one for wizard. It's okay. I'm there. I'm 3 off, but you know what?
Bro
It's
couldn't
fine.
fall asleep. Bro could not get.
I mean, you did
He's
get
tossing
chomped
and
pretty
turning.
hard by Big Linda multiple
Yeah.
times.
Oh wait, no, he's not sleeping. Remember, that's why.
What does Tim not sleeping sound like?
It just I don't know, it just sounds like low toned audible fax sounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say dial-up noises.
Dial-up noises.
You sound like a dot matrix printer.
No wonder Georgio wants to get the fuck out.
Let me see this thing you were talking about for the spell thing. If
Yeah,
it
I think it's
says-
called Arcane Recovery. I have not looked into Wizard in a while, but I know it's a thing.
You're
so.
right. You can choose an expended spell slot up to a combined level of 3. Okay, cool.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like You can get a spell slot back up to half your wizard level rounded up, I think. Don't hold me to that. I don't remember entirely. Wizard's a complicated class.
Yeah.
It's a fun class, but it's complicated. A lot of shit to remember. But anyway, after what I would imagine was roughly an hour, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, give or take, you all proceed to exit this ramshackle little room and begin heading back down into the bar, which is either as rowdy or even more rowdy now that the sun has gone down completely. It is quite dark outside, aside from all the torchlight and lanterns that have now been lit all across this part of the city. The temperature has begun to fall quite substantially as the sun has gone down. What little sun ever seems to shine here in Drakenheim. As you exit and toss the key to the bartender, he just kind of chuckles at you, grabs it, and hangs it back on this series of nails that have been hammered into just a random wall behind the bar. But you walk out of the bar, you can see there are numbers of people moving to and from all these places. It just looks like a more rowdy version of what you've seen thus far. It doesn't seem to change much from day to day in this part of the city, as people with nothing better to do try to drink their sorrows away, drink their successes, and generally just drink for effect. As you exit south down Buckle Down Row. The evening is yours. What would you like to do?
We had no time limit, or no sort of immediate urgency with this task, right?
With the note you were given, or what task were you referring to?
Yeah, that one. There was no
Nope.
completed
this
24 hours.
This isn't even a task, really. I don't think that she cares if we try or not.
Right.
Right? She's
Exactly.
She's just a bitch. Like
She's
like,
just-
Yeah,
here,
she's
I've
like-
got out of my personal stash. You said it again in the recap. You said out of her personal stash, and then we get directions. It's like, okay, all right, cool, yeah.
So, in
so-
defense, she said her personal stash. You get the understanding, Giorgio, with your insight, as far as lore and story-wise goes, you get the understanding per the conversation that she believes that to be part of her personal stash, given
Yeah.
the fact that she has the only knowledge of where it is. It's hers as far as you know.
Everything unclaimed is hers. Yeah,
If it ain't nailed down, it's mine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
So,
gist of the conversation
Go
you
get it
got.
If you want it, buddy. Yeah.
She never said she was going to hand it to you. She just said she was going to give you one from her personal stash. Didn't say she had it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So again, I don't think that it's certainly she wants it, right? But I don't think that she has any expectation that we're gonna go get it, or that we need to. I would like to, because I want another reason to go back so that we can kill her. Like, but
Per your discussions with Elias, as well as what you've understood now from your brief dealings with members of the Academy who know a bit more about this type of old magic, these seals of the city, these seals of the small council are vital to claiming the throne, is the gist of what you understand.
actual literal magically
Yes.
required for this. Right?
Yes.
So, at minimum, I think another conversation with everybody back at the base, And just say like, because we need to better understand what these things are and what they can do. Because she's got a few of them, and if they're all magical, I mean, like the staff that we have is crazy. So I would imagine these other ones, if they are all also equally as magical, will be equally as ridiculous.
Having possessed at least a couple other of these seals of the city, having had briefly in your possession the phylactery of Saint Vitruvio, which is typically the seal of the head of the church of the city of Drakenheim.
Mm-hmm.
It is the symbol of religion here in the city. And you also briefly had the Stewart seal, which is the primary advisor, as you know, given your history with this city and having lived here a number of years in your youth. You would know that the steward of the city is the right-hand man to the king. You also know, obviously, of the inscrutable staff, which represents the head of the Amethyst Academy in this part of the world and this city. And you also understand that there are, in addition to this, you have the from the brief moments you had those documents, there was also the Spy Master's signet.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also the Lord Commander's seal, which Elias Drexel had for the majority of the time, representing the military arm of the city. And then of the Chancellor's seal, which, given your general understanding, kind of represents the sort of Secretary of State sort of position within the city, sort of the diplomatic head and international liaison of the city, based on your past understanding. And that makes up what's known as the Small Council.
Yeah.
You have the Chancellor, the Spy Master, the head of the Academy, the head of the church, Stewart, and what was the other one I forgot? There's 6 total.
Lord Commander.
Lord Commander, thank you. So, yeah. Even I can't remember them all off the top of my head.
I don't. I have them in a notepad.
Okay.
Document right here.
Yeah. There are 6 in
Sorry.
total, yes. Given your conversations and your past understandings and, what all put together, that is your general understanding of who possesses these items and what their standing represents by possessing these items.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anywhere to be besides back at the base? I think there was. Do we need to stop at a church?
They were. Where did they say that they were going? They were.
I don't remember.
You were told
They were
that
going to perform some ritual.
No, they were just heading back. They were escorting new pilgrims, based on what Lucretia told you. And they, per other conversations and per what she briefly mentioned to you, and your discussions with some of these other chaplains that were more adherent to the Church of the Sacred Flame in general. That gentleman that you spoke with within the when he saw the body of the Knight Commander, the gentleman that you spoke with, you would know that Lucretia and her sect of the Falling Fire are in the building known as St. Selena's Monastery, or St. Selena's Abbey. And Georgio, you would remember from your time here in the city that St. Selena's Monastery, at least in the recent past, was utilized as a sort of an asylum for a long period of time. Yeah, sort of a ye olde halfway home for a long period of time, and a makeshift hospital. But in the past, it was just another branch of the Church of the Sacred Flame. There's a number of smaller abbeys and churches aside from the major cathedral of St. Vitruvio, which is the most prominent religious center of this city. Like that that is the religious heart of Drakenheim, is St. Vitruvio's cathedral. But St. Selena's Abbey, and then you also all when you looted was St. Brenna's cathedral, or not cathedral, smaller church. When you took the staff, or not the staff, the scepter of St. Vitruvio.
That's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Many moons ago. Probably almost 2 years ago when you guys did that.
Yeah, at this point.
I think that was the first thing we did, huh?
One of them, yeah.
We did the escort, and then immediately I think we did that. Oh, I think we did the escort. We went to the fight pits, and then we did that. That was like session 3.
Yeah, it was within the first
That was a
10 or so
long time
sessions.
ago.
Yeah, probably a couple years ago at this point. So
Yeah, I think we started January 2022. I think.
or as we've dubbed it before Chugrulk.
Yeah.
The scroll neck days. But yeah, as you exit the south side of Buckle Down Row, it is now fairly dark outside of this area. Those of you without dark vision are a bit more hampered than you would like. So keep that in mind.
So
But-
everyone but Chugrulk.
Pretty much. I mean, you are more than welcome to light up some torches if you'd like. Anyway, you are basically back where you had decided to turn around on the south side of the spokes at this point. What would you like to do?
It's still nighttime, right? Like fully night.
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much,
it's probably 10 or 11 in the evening at this point. It's not even quite midnight yet. What little light you can see coming through, like the ever-present fog around the city, especially this area where you're so close to the crater, where the main body of the meteor fell. You can see bits of moonlight. It quite hasn't reached center yet.
Got it.
So based on that and your general understanding of things, you can guess you're not quite at midnight yet.
And do we have a general idea from like previous happenings and being in this area what like a maybe safer area to travel would be?
You have the map, so I'll go ahead and let you make a survival check. If you don't mind.
Yeah. 9.
As far as you know, the shortest distance between 2 points. And your understanding is, head back towards Styx's Ferry. And you also, understand that you'd have a general idea of where you can see the walls here. With a handful of torches, you can kind of see where lights have come up, but you don't have a good idea of where those things are and what they represent as far as points of interest. You just kind of see bits and pieces of light here and there.
Gotcha.
But as far as your general understanding with that roll, that, kind of the way you came.
Okay. It was safe the first time, why not this time?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really discussed it. Are we just trying to get back to like the barracks at this point, or?
That would be the next thing that Giorgio would like to do, is to get back there to talk
See your favorite people again?
Yeah, to talk to Elias Drexel and try again not to kill that man. But again, not in any hurry. So if there is, like, if we did want to stop by, or Tim, if you had some reporting to do, Chugrulk, I still have no idea what your character, Spud, I have no idea what your character wants to do. So I don't know if there's anything that you.
Honestly, like I feel like at this point, like I agree. Like I'm just keen to get like kind of where we need to go. I'm just like kind of trying to be as alert and vigilant, being that I know everyone else is blind.
I can
think.
Do I have light? No, I mean I have. If it's dark out right now, right? I mean I have light.
Yes.
I can do that if we want. I mean that we can do that if you want.
I'm down for either. Like I don't want, you know, if you don't feel like it's safe to put a light out, like that's fine. But if you guys would prefer that, then
Yeah, I mean where we are might not be the best idea because people will be like, hey, what's that over there?
yeah, that's all I'm thinking. Like
You don't
maybe
wanna
I just be
overlook
extra
these folks
vigilant.
before
Like
we do. Yeah.
I'll just keep my eyes absolutely peeled for a little bit.
Yeah, since we're not really moving with any sort of like quick urgency, while we're doing this, I'm just gonna cast Pass Without a Trace just for,
Okay.
a little bit more secrecy.
And then do we? I mean, even if we have other places to go, I think the safest place for us to be is the barracks.
Yeah.
So probably, since it's so late, just go there so we can get the rest of a long rest in,
Sure.
and then
Okay.
figure out from there if we do want to go look for this Chancellor's thing or not.
Well, if you all are trying to be stealthy as you head back the way you came, or whatever route you're taking, I'm going to need a group stealth check from everyone.
All of us clanking along. Does Pass Without a Trace give us advantage?
No, it's
no, it gives us plus
Just
10.
Plus 10. Okay,
Yeah.
which is probably better than advantage, because we're all at disadvantage.
Yeah.
That was a huge disadvantage roll. Let's go. One sec.
Jesus. Alright, Chugrulk's just in like heavy armor, just no one can hear him though somehow.
God damn, yeah. Like,
I'm good. I mean that gives me a 20, so I'm still okay.
My lower roll is a 5 plus the 10 and 2, so a 17.
okay.
Yeah, that's our lowest roll.
I'm the one that
Not bad.
The lowest. Damn.
Yeah, with
Sorry, everybody.
Average
everything.
well
Just
above a
fucking-
20 at this point, so
thanks, Chugrulk,
you
for rolling a 30.
Hey man, sometimes, you get good disadvantage and you get, sad advantage. But taking time to, sort of skirt the main thoroughfares, heading back towards the docks on the eastern side of the Dran River. It takes you a bit longer. By the time you reach Styx's Ferry and heading through Champion's Way, kind of marking your center point, now you kind of know where you are as you pass through this main thoroughfare, knowing that heading further south would take you back to Emberwood Village, but would take you equal amount of time to get there as it would to get back to the to the barracks of the Hooded Lanterns. But kind of marking your bearings here, I would say about 1 or 2 hours after midnight, you'll probably arrive back at Styx's Ferry. You can see kind of waiting, sort of stilly on top of the boat, looking out into nothingness. You can see the solemn figure of Styx sitting on the back half of his little dinghy pull boat at the end of the dock. And as you approach, you can hear the slow turn and crack of his old bones as he kind of looks at you all.
Say across the river, please, Styx, and I hand him a copper.
As typical, he grabs the metal piece of whatever he imagines is coinage and bites the remaining bits of bone and teeth between the rotted, fleshy gums and pockets it into this bag of just random assortment of junk and loose change as he begins to unmoor the small boat from the dock as you all climb aboard. As he pushes off with this old rotten pole, you've never been crossing the Dran River at night before. It is a very unnerving, unsettling experience. You don't get the feeling that anything is watching you, but it's just unsettling as you stare into the pitch black waters slowly moving towards the southwest and then back due south directly through the heart of Drakenheim. And even in the few little flecks of moonlight as it shimmers across the water, you can see, as it does, you can see that opalescent coloring sort of suffusing the water as it skirts under the boat, the sure sign of contaminated river water. As you move through, now you can see that the haze, this late at night, with nothing to sort of mitigate its movement, is thick and heavy and moving probably a good 2 feet above the water, just to the edge of the boat. You can see just this dense amount of haze kind of rippling across with the movement of the water. Tim, you can sense that charged sort of ozone scent of this mist that flows over the boat as it kind of rocks back and forth in the center portion of the river. And as you reach the opposite end of the shore of the Duran River, kind of allowing the current, starting higher up, but allowing the current to bring you back effortlessly to this point opposite on the western bank of the river, you can't help but just feel this unsettling sort of chill roll down your spine as you pass through the heart of this heavily destroyed, contaminated city, even more so than normal. Nevertheless, you reach the opposite end of the Duran River. And as you do so, you can kind of see, as you kind of step onto the docks, you can begin to see in a distance, probably a good 30 to 45 minutes walk, you can see more of the heavy lantern light atop the temple gate, where not but a few weeks prior you had overtaken the Garmir, the bipedal wolf creatures that had overrun the Temple Ward district of the city. But you can see at this distance that that is not the case. As you see from here, you can see a number of well-organized individuals taking control of this space. As you step onto solid ground once more, what would you all like to do?
I guess just continue back to Elias at the barracks.
I say just waddle on.
Anything interesting is probably dangerous.
Go ahead and give me one more group stealth check. I'll go ahead and say you still have the effects of Pass Without Trace, but this would be the last bonus to that. What is it?
I'm still good.
Oh shit! With disadvantage?
I rolled too much money.
Damn.
That's fucking rod.
That's a 1 in 400 chance right there.
Of all things, man. Right now.
With disadvantage of all things.
Damn
Yeah.
it, man.
So we don't even see Giorgio at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I've
You heard
passed without
you heard of a
trace.
clink of a can, and then you look back.
John
And
Cena
it's-
out here.
it's-
Like,
yeah.
fucking...
Just gone.
It sticks clinking metal together, and when you turn around to look at Giorgio, he's just gone.
Yeah, Yeah,
think
David
I've ever done that
Copperfields
my
his
whole
way
life.
out of
Yeah.
here.
And on a nothing stealth check, I'm pissed.
We don't know that.
Oh man. Please tell me that there's a giant monster that would have hurt us if I didn't do this, please.
Well, if you had failed as a group, I would have made you roll on the encounter table.
Okay.
But with pass without trace and then that nat 20, you're well above the minimum. Because that counts as 2 successes. So even with an objective failure, unless it was a nat 1, it wouldn't counteract it.
Yeah.
Plus you had the plus 10, so I mean,
Yeah.
all of you are well above the threshold.
Yeah, that's a 32 with disadvantage.
God damn, dude.
What a ridiculous.
Anyway,
Way to
with
waste
your
your
friend-
nat 20s.
yeah.
I'm so mad about it. I'm so mad
with a
about it.
double
Of all
nat
times-
20 on
of all times
disadvantage.
to roll a double nat 20 on disadvantage, and it's for a group stealth check.
Oh.
Like, man. It's like trying to snipe some dude out of a clock tower with my hand axes from way too far away. Like, you know, like, damn, wouldn't that be nice?
Nope.
Could be worse.
Sorry.
The world may never
Group
know.
Group stealth check while we're going to sleep. Like,
With that stealth check, you and your understanding of the location now becoming much more familiar with the sprawl and Shepherd's Way and now Temple Road and the neighborhood surrounding, plus the general patrols that are now heavily suffused through this area from the hooded lanterns. You feel fairly confident in where you're going. Able to move very quickly with that nat 20. I would say I was going to make you all roll con saves for exhaustion, given the situation, but with that nat 20, we will forego that as you arrive earlier than anticipated, just before dawn, just as the sun is beginning to creep over the horizon. You arrive back at Shepherd's Way and the gate leading into the barracks of the Hooded Lanterns. So it wasn't completely a throwaway roll. I was going to make you guys roll exhaustion.
we got it worked. Yeah. I'm no longer that mad.
So, but yeah, let me go ahead and pull that little image up real quick. Where is it? There's the... There it is. As you arrive back, I would imagine you're heading... this would roughly be where Shepherd's Gate, the southern entrance of the barracks. As arriving, you can already begin to see various platoons beginning to wake up to start their transition from the nightly patrols, now leading into the morning marching patrols and drills and things of that nature preparing. You can hear a number of people beginning to gather materials. As you enter in, you can already see, Tim, you spot a pair of purple-clad, robed mages heading through. You can see them beginning to gather various arcane ingredients into satchels and crates, assumingly heading towards the inscrutable tower, moving materials to and from now that the location has been somewhat secured. As the arcane circles, you can kind of spot. In fact, give me an Arcana check, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, with a 27, you can see that the materials that they're gathering, salts and incense, and what you can see is ground and powdered delirium in jars. And you can gather, based on these arcane ingredients, that what they're using these for is likely to reestablish the arcane teleportation circles within the tower.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
Based on your understanding of alchemy, as well as the arcane ingredients used in certain ritual spellcasting methods. And as you arrive back in the barracks, you can see in the far end of the barracks, Georgio, you're the first to spot, as you, I would imagine, are at the most evident of where this individual is likely is. You can see Elias Drexel, and you can see Petra and Ansem Lang having a discussion just on the opposite side of the barracks. You do not see any other members of the academy or any religious figures within the barracks at this time. What would you all like to do?
Unless we have a reason to, I would like to take a sleep.
It's gotta be very late at this point, right?
It's dawn. Yeah, it took you all night to get back. Because you were moving slowly to stealth and avoid detection.
Okay, so it is morning. I think.
Yeah, you can see the
all
sun
was-
creeping up on the eastern horizon at this point. Like behind where you were going, you could see the ever growing like light following you as you're now heading up. And is just beginning to crest over the top of the walls as you entered in the barracks. I would imagine
say we
it's
rip
probably
our sleep
like
schedule.
at that streamer schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I mean it's kind of all hustle and bustle right now in the barracks. Does it seem like there's actually like purpose behind it? Like there's something that's getting like it seems out of the ordinary that the people would be working like this early at whatever things they're doing.
Give me a perception check.
Of course, of course. An 8.
Seems like normal drills.
Cool.
Same out of the ordinary.
Just an average day.
I mean, you've seen marches, you've seen people gathering supplies, changing of the guard. You know, seems normal.
Good enough for me.
Chugrulk, Tim, Giorgio, anything you would like to do, or are you just looking to crash before you
Well, yeah, I'm gonna
are
say I'm pretty
involuntary
exhausted
crashing?
from like just like keeping my wits about me throughout the like just on the off chance, being that I felt like I was at the most ability to see. So I'm feeling absolutely knackered. I'm pretty keen for a rest.
Knackered.
Yeah, that
Sorry,
works.
Australian slang. Yeah, my bad.
There you go.
Or bugbear slang, should I say?
Yeah.
I dig it. I like it.
I would say that I would be fine, except now it's the morning and I did not sleep. So yeah, definitely bedtime.
I mean, you can certainly stay up, but you're going to risk exhaustion.
No, don't want. Yeah,
Oh,
don't.
thank you.
No.
All right. Without even engaging in any conversation, you all are quickly allowed in, given your group's notoriety with the hooded lanterns. There's definitely an acknowledgement of your arrival by the commanding officers, but given your state as you arrive, still showing signs of heavy combat with God knows what as you head back into the barracks, they just kind of look the other way and just, allow you to head where you are heading. And as you head down into the lower subterranean levels where you've kind of become accustomed to these areas, you can sense that charged air dissipate as you fall below the surface of the roads and the barracks into this, what was formerly a detention area, but now has been turned into a primary barrack, sleep area, given it is one of the few locations within the city that you all know of within the city proper that is safe from the effects of the haze. Nevertheless, you head down not too long after you arrive, and you head into the available locations of this former detention portion of the barracks turned, barracks themselves. You're brought a reasonable stipend of food from the mess hall by a couple hooded lantern soldiers. Some warm bread, some cheeses, a bit of dried meat, as well as some medical provisions for yourselves as you take a moment to breathe, thinking about what your next move will be. But if there's anything else you would like to do, otherwise we can go ahead and mark that off as a long rest for you all.
Well,
with that, I'm going to take a quick break because I got to use the bathroom, so I'll be back in a sec.
A long rest then.
Okay. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. If anybody else needs to take a bio break, now would probably be the time.
Yep.
Right back. Anyway, as you all take your rest in this early morning hour, as everyone else is beginning their day, you take your time to recover after the ordeal within the spokes and within Buckle Down Row. Waking up in the, we'll say, the mid-afternoon, to a bit of bustle and hubbub above ground. You hear a lot of movement, more than usual, even in this part of the barracks. What would you like to do?
I mean, I guess, should we go check this thing? Should we follow the lead?
I'd like to talk to Elias first before we take off.
That's
Okay.
fair.
As you all head above ground to the open courtyard where you see a number of individuals organizing weapons and supplies onto various carts, moving them to and from. Based on their direction, you would imagine either moving them towards one of the other southern gates that are now controlled by the Hooded Lanterns, or the clock tower that you all had secured weeks prior, deeper in the heart of the city. But what also catches your eye, there's a... you hear shouting. And as you look into the courtyard, you see Elias and Eldrick, Runeweaver, in a heated discussion, borderline argument, in the center of the barracks. What do you all do?
I think I would walk up, but not interrupt. You know.
Yeah, is like a crowd gathering to hear?
No, the only individuals you see there, you can see that most of the soldiers have kind of given this a wide berth. The only people who are kind of like close in proximity, at the time you see there's one mage that you don't recognize in academy robes, and then you see Petra is beside the Lord Commander, kind of just standing there at attention, waiting for orders, kind of just eyeing the situation. Not like in a... From this distance, she's just waiting at this point, in case she needs to act, but you don't see her in like a concerned fashion, gripping weapons or anything.
Okay.
But it seems like a pretty heated argument at this point as you approach, and you hear Elias. Now, you're gonna tell me what is going on. We discussed this. The Academy is under contract to disclose this information, Eldrick. There is no argument. And as he says this is when you would approach Georgio.
Mhm.
And then
I would keep my distance because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to interrupt. I
Sure.
just want to listen. I think this is amusing.
And at this point, you hear Eldrick a bit more calmer. You get that aged demeanor in response. Oh, Elias, I'll tell you calmly. The Academy is not at your beck and call. We are at service to the entire continent as per the Edicts of Lumen. You've paid us promptly and effectively. As such, our deal is just as that compensation stands. Now, we've already compensated you, Eldrick, many hundreds of years ago. And he pulls up what looks like some sort of document. That requires direct intervention by the Directorate. But what I can disclose as not something I'd like to discuss in the open courtyard of your barracks. And as you're approaching Georgio, you can kind of see his attention turns to you. Hopefully you have a better mind than your commanding officer here, that certain things should not be discussed in open confidence for the world to hear. And he says this to you, Georgio.
I'm sorry. Say that last part.
He says, finally, somebody of calmer mind outside of this argument. Certain things shouldn't be said in open confidence for the world to hear.
I don't know if I'm the calmer mind you want.
Well, at least you don't quite have stakes in this argument, at least over 100-year period. But nevertheless, you should probably be privy to this information. Given your situation, and as he says this, he's about to say, as your companions are, there they are. Elias, if you'd like to discuss this in private, I'd be happy to do so. Or would you like to say it in open audience for this entire area to hear, including potentially the Queen of Thieves? She seems quite capable of understanding and infiltrating your entire... And you can see my office right now. March! And he just starts, marching towards the commander's tower. And Petra kind of turns to you all.
Huh?
We should probably go there with them.
Yeah, let's go.
As you all follow Elias and Eldrick, both at this point quite hot-headed and heated, into the discussion area, you see this big oak table, this big war table with plans, maps of the city all spread out with various markers. Very much a war room on any given day, spread out. You see there are two individuals stationed outside this office. And as you all enter in, alongside Petra and Eldrick, he looks at the two of them. I'd like you all to head down to the base of the staircase. Do not let anyone in. Am I clear? And they both, give a salute and as he slams the door and locks it from behind him. Private enough for you, Eldrick? Fine. What is it you'd like to know? I'd like you to explain to the potential successor to the throne here what the circumstances of said coronation might be. Well, as a former holder of the seal of the city, and you can hear as he kind of accentuates that former, kind of shoving a dagger in Elias's ribs, having lost the commander's seal. You should know that without all 6 seals of the city, one cannot be crowned king in proper. And that's not just a ceremonial reason. The crown itself is a powerful magical item.
Actually, I have a lot of questions about this.
Are you asking these?
In character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Georgio, what do you understand of the major ruling powers of this continent? Illyria, Caspia, and of course Westamar.
Basically nothing. All I know, I don't know anything about the other ones, but for here, I know very little, and that is that the seals are somehow magical, and I'm going to point at Tim and say, his is really powerful. The others, I assume, have some magical properties. I've been told that at least they have something, right? And if they're even remotely as powerful as his, I would like to know exactly what they do. Aside from the ritual that is the coronation process, that is largely irrelevant to me, but if you want to go into it, we can listen.
Well, per the Edicts of Lumen, one who is mage-born cannot ascend to nobility or political standing in the same way that a member of the church cannot assume noble standing. This was a means of counteracting the sorcerer kings of old who ruled in a tyrannical manner for thousands of years across this continent. And he points off into the distance at the inscrutable tower. That was a former stronghold of one said sorcerer king.
It does look cool.
With that being said, as a result of this tyrannical enforcement and control, mages have been persecuted ever since by the church in a negative swing the other direction. Hence the birth of the Amethyst Academy, in an effort to protect and to train every new generation of mage-born child across this continent. But there's a balance of power that must be maintained. There's divinity, the arcane, and of course, there is those who are born to noble standing. Either by political conquest, or bloodlines. There's any number of means of obtaining political standing, wealth. But nevertheless, rule cannot be done by one of natural given birth to the arcane or one who controls within the church, lest we have a repeat of the past. To balance the natural disadvantage that a non-mage-born and non-divine imbued individual might have, many years prior at the outset of the Edicts of Lumen, when they were first struck into existence, the Academy created 3 powerful magical items for the 3 rulers of this continent at the founding of Westamar, Illyria, and Caspia. By powerful, I mean extremely so. Their very attunement and use can constitute a paradigm shift in reality and the history of this world. That being said, there must be checks and balances to these items. Therefore, 6 individuals must stand in unity to this individual attempting to attune to these 3 crowns, let's call them. Both literally and figuratively. Without that control and that divesting of power, we could have a whole new slew of individuals that could unravel what we know as reality. At this point, Tim, Eldrick looks to you. There are powerful magics that I'm sure you're aware of, Tim. Reality-altering magics that only the highest of high mage-born individuals have access to. These spells are not something that one can simply learn. They must be taught. And they are heavily controlled by members of the Directorate. The only exception to this are the 3 magic crowns that the rulers of this continent possess. In Caspia, you have the 6 swords, and of course the High King that bears the crown of Caspia. In Illyria, you have the divine rulers that stand beside the regent of that nation. And of course, here you have the small council and the king of Drakenheim, the king of Westamar. Six individuals must be individually attuned to one of the 6 seals of the city. And then, when a ruler is crowned, they must attune, with the help of these 6 individuals, to the crown itself. And at that time, they are allotted the ability to definitively alter reality. Potentially up to multiple times, given the amount of time between said uses of this crown. Mechanically speaking, what he is describing to you, Tim, is a wish spell.
Ooh. I had a feeling.
So, Giorgio, Cedric, and Chugrulk, you don't really understand what he's getting at, Tim, you vaguely understand it as you've heard rumors of such magics, but this is extremely high-level magic that you've never seen cast in person. You've only heard stories of it, at best. So, Giorgio, when Elias has been urging you to gather these seals of the city, the seals of the small council. They are individually powerful, yes, but together, at the seat of the throne, they could change the fate of this city, of Westamar itself. At this point, Elias cuts in. We could undo the whole of this in a single day. Everything that is ruined this once great nation could be undone in a single moment. But no one has been anywhere near the Castle Draken in 15 plus years. It's by far the most dangerous part of this city, without question. And if this Queen of Thieves desires this same power, there's no telling what ends they might go to obtain it. Do you understand what the implications of this is?
Yeah.
At this point, Eldrick steps in again. We're not certain to full certainty who the Queen of Thieves is, but given their intimate knowledge of the city and small council, the seals of the city, and of course the crown itself, it's fairly certain that they are more than likely one of the two missing individuals that were perhaps members of the former royal family.
Out of character.
Yeah.
She revealed to us who she actually is, correct?
She did not.
She did not. Okay.
Nope.
Okay,
You were not certain.
No,
you
I remember. I remember now. The
Right. There was a
okay, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
kind of a guess that it might be one of the two daughters of former King Ulrich.
Yeah. Did she mention? Wait, I thought she did mention being taken away.
She mentions. Go ahead and give me an intelligence check to see. Just,
Yeah, I
she mentioned something.
Now one, never mind.
It's hard to remember. It was
That's what
it
you
was
get for
such
the
a
nat
heated
20s,
argument
fucker.
that yeah,
I wasted them.
it's hard to say. What you
yeah.
vaguely remember that it was discussed in passing in multiple conversations, but you don't really remember what the details of.
Yeah, out of character. What I'm thinking. I can't remember now. I legitimately can't remember if it was her saying it in a few sessions ago, or if it was what Elias said a long time ago when he first revealed it to me and showed me the portrait, did all that stuff. But I thought I remember her saying something about being taken and put into the academy because she's a very powerful wizard.
You remember vaguely through the conversation, more so with what the discussions you had with Elias, because that was a less, strenuous moment. He mentioned at first that it was potentially one of two individuals. That there was the elder daughter, Katerina, and then there was the younger daughter, I can't remember. It starts with an E.
I also can't remember her name. Katerina is the one that I remember. So Katerina was the one that was taken for the...
They
as
were
a
both
mage.
Mageborn.
Oh, I thought the younger one was taken into the church.
No, they were both Mageborn.
Oh, okay. Then I'm completely mistaken on all
Right,
that.
right.
Never mind.
No, yeah, the discussion, they were both Mageborn. They were both taken and trained by the Academy.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what you know of the Edicts of Lumen and what you've discussed, and Tim, you would know this more intimately than the rest of the group. Mageborn individuals, so when children are discovered to have natural gifts to magic, they, as part of the Edicts of Lumen, they can be taken without protest by their parents or anyone else by the Academy per the Edicts of Lumen. And in most cases, the parents will not argue in any way, given the effects of what an unhampered Mageborn individual could do if they weren't properly trained. Like what somebody's potential inert magic could cause. I know D&D, as far as like wizards are learned spellcasters, but in this world everyone is innately born. It's more like everyone's a sorcerer.
Yeah.
It's just variants of said magic, but Mageborn individuals are detected sort of like the best way to describe it would be like force sensitive children in Star Wars is the best way I would describe it. So they are taken early enough that not necessarily they don't know their family, but they early enough that they don't cause themselves or anyone else harm by not as soon as there's signs of magical ability, they are taken in by the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim, the same thing happened for you at a very young age. Well, pre Warforged period.
Yeah.
And that is a portion of the Edicts of Lumen, that the Academy is given jurisdiction to take in and protect these individuals. And it is extremely rare. Like only 1 in 1,000 children have this innate magic that they're born with. Like I said, I can't force you into this role, Giorgio. No one is. But it is your right by birth. I am more than certain that you are the son of our former King Ulrich. Had we had the phylacteries, we could prove it right here and now. Fortunately, this Queen of Thieves took them along with them to likely inhibit said discovery. But given your appearance, your station within the royal family in the castle prior to the fall of the meteor, and your whisking away at the same time alongside the royal family outside the city, I have little doubt in my mind of where your birthright lies. And when the time comes, we will prove that to this continent, to the nobility of Westmar outside of Drakenheim. But none of that matters if that crown falls into the hands of someone else. And I apologize if what I've done up to this point is cold and callous and manipulative. I will bear that sin when the time comes. But
what happens, just curious, what happens if we just, what if we just left with the staff?
Are you asking this in conversation, or are you asking this
Yeah, in
above the table?
conversation. In conversation. She's like, if we just left and then there were never 6 here.
Eldrick steps up. If Tim tried to leave with the staff and forego his duties to the Academy, likely the Directorate would intervene and, at best, he would be stripped of his station within the Academy and imprisoned. But more than likely, he would simply be killed.
Okay, this is not anything.
Go.
Alongside anyone assisting him.
Yeah, this is not anything we've ever discussed. I just threw.
It's
I'm curious.
hypothetical.
That was an idea I just had.
Of course.
Not anything that's ever been discussed. Don't worry. That's not.
Never once said ever.
Okay, Tim. Now it's way less believable. But what I'm saying is true. Like,
I understand where you're coming from, but you must understand that
yeah. No,
that
yeah,
is not
no,
only a
but-
symbol of this city, but a symbol of the Academy's power.
Sure. Yeah.
In fact, it was a powerful relic of the Academy before it was a seal of the city.
Okay. Hey, wait. I have other important questions. But how come there's a delirium crystal in this thing?
What you know as delirium wasn't always as well documented as it is now.
Uh-huh.
Prior to the fall of the meteor,
Uh-huh.
we were aware of a intensely dense magical item, a crystalline material. But there were only small samples here and there over thousands of years. But when this meteor struck, suddenly there were whole cities worth of this material. We've never seen anything like it.
Crazy that a whole meteor came out of nowhere and crashed into that tower where they were studying this stuff.
Indeed, we were...
So crazy.
Inscrutable Tower was... There were, of course, the Inscrutable staff, as well as small samples of what you know now as delirium. But that was all. We had no inkling that such massive quantities of magically rich mineral was simply floating about the cosmos. Hell, we didn't even understand most of magical understanding of the outer planes itself are minimal at best. It is fringe understanding at its very, thinnest portions. We are still arguing to this day what the very association of the spheres around us is. We know so little of the outer world. We know so little of our own world. But this delirium, and you can see he pulls out of a satchel another one of these, similar to what you have, Tim, a glass-encased small fragment of delirium, this pearl of power.
I have that.
Such a small piece of this delirium can do so much good in the world. But unfortunately, when it is unchecked in its current raw state, of course it's a danger. That's why the Academy is working to control it, to collect it, to harvest it, to make truly great things for this world, for humanity. So much potential in such a small item. And there are masses of it all around the city. But like any power, you have to be careful. It has to be properly controlled.
Literally fall out. That's really fun. Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me. But sorry, I got distracted because I started thinking about that. But
Sure.
I do still need to understand. I would like to understand what the seals themselves individually do. Because if we're gonna go about trying to collect these things, fight against someone who is also collecting these things, I need to know what they do. And I mean,
I wish I could give you more details, but those documents that were stolen in the cathedral that day were the last recorded records of what I understand is the seals themselves. Elias, you might know more of at least the one that you had in your possession for a long period of time. And I know your companions here had a handful, at least briefly. The
looks at Elias.
Commander Seal allows for bolstering of one's natural charismatic draw. The troops, that the ones that he leads. It is the symbol of the military might of Drakenheim and the country of Westamar as a whole. It allows for the bolstering of one's companions, one's forces. But to my understanding, one person cannot attune to multiple seals of the city. That is a fundamental fact. Those who have tried have either died in the process or been horribly maimed in doing so.
Okay. Don't do that. Then. Got it.
That's good to know. Thank you.
And Cedric, you would remember having attuned briefly to the Stewart seal, that it had a more utilitarian use case.
You're attuned to it?
He did briefly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't get to do anything with it.
I think he used it once briefly for some
Yeah.
spells, but yeah,
Did
nothing.
you do it in secret, or am I just stupid?
It was kind of in secret.
Okay, nifty.
We knew it existed, but
Yeah,
or you all
yeah.
knew it existed, but yeah.
I didn't know that they were things to even attune to.
Yes, the seals themselves each require an individual to attune to them.
Yeah.
In the same way that the proposed ruler of Westamar must attune to the crown alongside the small council. It is a balance of power. 6 individuals must confirm their loyalty to this individual before they can attune to the crown. And as you think about that, you have, of course, Tim, who's currently attuned to one of said seals. Cedric, who is attuned briefly to one. You had briefly in your possession one. Elias had one brief, up until the point that it was taken during the,
Yeah. So we've got Chancellor's crest that we're gonna go get.
that's
There's
roughly,
six
the
of them, right?
location of it, yes.
So we're gonna try and go get the Chancellor's crest. We had the signet and we had the Steward seal and the
Lord Commander's seal. Yeah.
and the phylactery. So those 3 are gone. We still have a 4th. We're going to get a 5th, and the 6th we don't know about. But I would assume, knowing them now, that she probably has the Spymaster signet, because she's
I would
like
assume so.
she's, so. she's like she's transforming in front of us left and right.
I would assume so.
She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us left and right. She's like she's transforming in front of us
What
Yeah,
kind
she's
of
kind of a
spy?
jerk.
What kind of spy master signet would do anything except let you do that?
That's a good point.
Right? Like like if I had to guess what a spy would be able to do with a magic spy item, it's like, oh, I can turn into anyone I want, right? Like that's you know, if I were to write a fantasy story that we are not definitely that we definitely are not fictionally a part of right now, right? Like, so I mean that's all 6, presumably.
Yeah,
And we
you've
are grossly
seen or been in possession of 4.
Right.
You're aware of the
We're
location of 5, and the
And
6th
number
that you.
6, I'm making the executive assumption here, with all the power that I have sitting at this table, to say, yeah, she's got the 6th one. That's all 6.
That
So
makes
we know where all
sense.
6 are. It only makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. So, do they know? Elias, do you know what these other ones do? I mean, you were
I can make
part of a council, right? Like,
I can make a educated guess.
okay, let's hear your educated guess, Mr. Guy.
Given the nature of the Chancellor within the city of Drakenheim, their primary function was a diplomat between foreign powers. So their best foot forward would likely be something in the realm of discussion and persuasiveness of that.
Something diplomatic. Okay,
Yes.
air quotes diplomatic, right? Yeah,
Right.
we're all.
As far as the Spy Master Signet, they were the information broker expertise of the city. The former Spy Master, one Harold Escar, brilliant man, but quite kept to himself. But their espionage abilities were unmatched. When information was key and paramount, that was their domain of choice, if you will.
Okay. Can you say his name again? I doubt it's ever going to be particularly relevant.
Harold Escar.
Harold Escar. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, E-S-C-A-R.
Let's
Scar.
see. I typed ESCAR and then I thought, fantasy name, it's probably okay.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Of course, you
Who
have...
was-
Pardon?
I was just gonna say, what about the phylactery? What did the phylactery do?
The
What can you
phylactery
assume
was
the
the symbol of the head of the church within the city of Drakenheim, for the but not necessarily the Church of the Sacred Flame, but more often than not, that was associated, as it is also one of the holy relics of the patron saint Vitruvio. So it has both a divinity tied directly to one of the earliest saints of the church, but also to the city itself.
And what do you have any insight into what it possibly could hold as magic?
I would imagine its divine capabilities would rest in the realm of healing and expulsion of any evils and demonic or protection abilities of sorts. Your compatriot there probably is well aware of said abilities. Capabilities of high-level flamekeepers. I would imagine it falls within that same domain.
Cedric, any insight there?
I think you briefly had. I don't know if you attuned to the phylactery, but I
No,
think you briefly had it.
I think from what I remember, I specifically was the one that held it, and I didn't even know that it was attunable. So maybe if it was in Cedric's hands, it would have made more sense.
Well, it's attunable by a cleric.
Right, yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like, if he was holding it, he might have been able to sense something, you know, hey, I could attune to this. What is this? You know, like, but for me, it never crossed my mind, unfortunately.
Yeah, from what you remember, it is literally a glass vial, like rosary, but with a glass vial at the end with the blood of Saint Vitruvio in it.
Yeah, kind of spooky.
Probably didn't do anything cool anyways.
Okay.
It's like the equivalent of like a powerful saint's remains.
Yeah.
In the same way that there are several items that you know of that are directly tied to the patron saint Vitruvio, one of which your companion Chugrulk has in his possession right now, which is the holy sword Ignatius. In fact, Cedric, you would know more so than your companions that the patron saint had a number of items. You briefly had within your possession the scepter. There's the phylactery. There was obviously Ignatius, the blade, a burning truth.
Yeah.
And then a pair of other items, and you're not 100% certain. If you'd like to make a religion check to see if you can recall, I can give you more information, but those are the ones
Why wouldn't I?
Go for it. Let's see it. 17. You remember at least one of them, which is the Helm of the Saints.
Helm of the Saints?
Yes, the Helm of Saint Vitruvio, like a literal helmet.
Oh, okay. I was thinking ship for some reason.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like the helm, like a helmet.
That makes way more sense realistically.
Literally a helmet. You don't remember what the other item was, but there was one more that you were aware of, but you don't remember what it was.
Okay.
You know that all of these items, though, were kept within Drakenheim. All of them.
Okay.
But only one of them was also, like, with it being a tied to the Saint Vitruvio as one of these holy relics, was also a seal of the city. So that was kind of the connection between the church as, again, that sort of balance of power. Chugrulk, Tim, did you any thoughts, questions, concerns, actions?
Thoughts. I kind of want to get the set bonus for wearing all of this guy's items. But that's about it. If I'm going to be realistic, you know.
Is this for the Wallcraft?
Yeah, that's it. But other than that, you know, I'm just thinking about the drip that could be.
The holy drip.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, scepter in one hand, sword in the other.
The warrior of truth out
That's
here.
exactly
Chugrulk.
right.
In fact, Chugrulk, since you wield Ignatius, give me a religion check. I'll allow you to make one. Given the fact that you possess Ignatius, which is a sentient item.
Mm-hmm. Does Ignatius have a religion check I could do? Oh god.
No, just it would be your 13. Again, you know about as much as what Cedric has said.
Yeah.
I was just throwing it out there because you wield a sentient weapon.
That's I was gonna say that definitely makes
Has
sense.
has the ability to give some insight.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you feel as you're thinking this and you're hearing these words of your companions and Elias and Eldric, you feel just the soft thrum of Ignatius's hilt in your hand as you hold on to it, but it dies out pretty quickly as you kind of lean back into your mind. And Caspia has some religious connection, but it's generally more of a warrior people than a deeply religious state.
And I think that's where like my thought was coming from, was more of that like, yeah, like gladiator, like get some like, cool gear kind of
Warrior boy.
mindset.
Right.
Yes.
Your
Once a
understanding
while I'm hearing it.
of the Saint Vitruvio as the first paladin of the Sacred Flame is as a warrior more so than a priest.
Yeah.
You respect him as a great warrior of old more so than a great religious figure.
Yeah, exactly.
Nevertheless, I hope now what we've brought to light here carries a bit more weight. If this Queen of Thieves were to ascend to the throne, there's no telling what they could do in combination with whatever innate magical abilities they might have. Indeed, they, as Eldrick adds in, this would directly violate the Edicts of Lumen. And not only would it result in a dangerous situation, an untapped power dynamics we've not seen since the Sorcerer Kings, but if the other great nations of this continent were to find word of this, they would have no choice but to descend upon Westamar as a direct violation of this pact this continent has held for the last 1,000 years. That being said, what are you all thinking? What are your thoughts? What are your drives? What are your initial desires to do?
I just have like a quick curiosity. What are we gonna, like, what happens if we get all of these seals? Like, it seems like everyone has this desire, but no one's been like very upfront about it. Like, no one wants the Queen of Thieves to gain them all and find some sort of royalty, but like, if we get them all, then what's the plan for it for everyone else?
Elias speaks up. I would imagine that would be the choice of this nation's potential new king.
Hammer pants to Georgia.
Of course, with the input of their small council. This is, as you know, a balance of power. The individual attempting to assume the throne of Westamar chooses their small council, but I'd imagine they would choose someone who they deeply trust to fulfill that role.
I think Elias here is looking out for the stability of the kingdom. And we know that having someone with a rightful claim to the throne would provide something more than anybody else for stability.
It would certainly help. Because having a direct claim to the throne would not only cement your position as king, but assist in garnering the approval of the noble powers surrounding the city. Westamar itself is a nation of many peoples and many powers, but we cannot secure the throne itself, then that argument is pointless. Nobility will not back a king that cannot assume power over Drakenheim. And the Academy will do everything it can to assist, given that we are compensated accordingly. As per the Edicts of Lumen, of course. We are not allowed to intervene exclusively in one power's advantage. But we do have stake here in the city, as the Inscrutable Tower is a point of great interest to the Academy. And there are multiple means of compensation in this world. More so than just gold, as you understand. The Academy has a deeply invested interest in delirium as a source of powerful arcane energies and potential. So if we were to be given an exclusive contract to harvest said mineral, I think it would be safe to say that would be a more than adequate payment. We'd be happy to assist in any way we can.
So did we get any sort of support from you guys on these endeavors that we're gonna have to go through?
Are you speaking to Eldrick or are you speaking to Elias?
They're both there, right?
Yeah, or both.
Yeah, just general.
We can certainly assist in providing if you're on an excursion to continue to collect these seals or to try to reobtain some of those stolen by the Queen herself. I can say that they can't be entirely free due to international pressures, but we could heavily discount them, given your assistance with resecuring the Inscrutable Tower. In addition to any magical imbued scrolls, things of that nature, help prepare you for whatever you might find in your upcoming excursions.
Cool.
I'm gonna look at Cedric. Does this seem like a good idea to you?
Doesn't seem like a poor idea at the very least. Someone already has a lot of seals, and if they get more of them, I doubt that we will, well, exactly be of service to them moving forward. Plus, it's just really cool magical items. We've seen how cool they can be.
Extremely.
One of them is sentient. Like, come on, come on.
I mean, you know how I feel about magical items.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have to go out and, at the very least, we see what's going on with the castle. No one's been there for, as you said, 15 years or so at this point, so...
Get it out.
Yeah, unless, Giorgio, you have a different,
Something idea.
a different idea or a
No.
different reason as to why we wouldn't be going for this.
No.
And
Well,
I'm down.
sounds like we're all good.
heck yeah.
All aboard.
Him sitting
Choo
there
choo.
with his cool ass staff already, like, yeah, like no input needed.
Leaning on his stuff.
Might I ask where you are heading, so I might be able to assist?
Castle? No?
Wouldn't recommend going anywhere. Well, or Elias, I'm sorry. I wouldn't recommend going to the castle until we have all the seals in hand.
Oh, right. Where are we going first? Yeah, right.
No, no.
You must understand that small council must be chosen, all seals must be in hand before. Last time the crown was seen was on top of the head of former King Ulrich von Kessel IV.
You know that dude's a zombie in there.
Yeah, we already found the queen. She wasn't that cool.
No one's seen King nor his eldest son since the day the meteor fell. The last they were seen were within the walls of Castle Draken.
We have reason to believe one of the items is in the Black Ivory Inn. That is
Black
where
Ivory Inn.
That is where we would be going next.
That whole part of the city was thought destroyed.
Maybe.
It wouldn't be a surprise.
But if what makes you think it's in the Black Ivory Inn?
We got a hunch.
We have a really good hunch.
Well, more than what we've had thus far, and given your past accomplishments, you'll have done more than we've managed in nearly a decade. So I will defer to your expertise in this matter. Seems the skills of a small party seems to be more appropriate in these matters than the forces of an army. So if the Black Ivory Inn seems to be your destination, I recommend you stock up as best you can. And you watch as Elias pulls a satchel from his hip and places it down on the table for you all as you hear the jingle of coinage.
Nice.
That's all we can spare for the time being, and still remain within our necessities, but this seems of the utmost importance, so I think it will do you all right. And you can add 500 gold apiece, so for a total of 2,000.
A piece.
500 apiece.
Dang.
That's still great.
Let's go.
It's a lot of gold.
I have a contingent that will be heading towards the tower in the coming days, but myself and River will be present if you need anything prior to your excursion to this location. We can offer magic scrolls or any of our usual potions, accompaniments, things of that nature. We're a bit tapped on more potent magical items, but we have a variety of more unique potions at the time being that might assist you in this matter. When you're ready, come and find us. Not, I wish you the best of luck. Tim? Stay in contact. Don't forget to submit some reports when you return.
Yeah. Reports. Yes, sir.
Just check in, please.
And do.
Well, as Elias and Eldrick leave the war room of the commander's tower, leaving the four of you to discuss amongst yourselves what your plans will be, have you guys decided what you want to do next?
Not quite. But maybe, probably.
Yeah, I think that our current is to go ahead and make our way to the inn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in short, what I told them, JJ, is that Georgio's interested in getting the deal to try and see what kind of favor we could possibly gain from the King of Thieves. Not specifically to try and put together all six together and become king, just because he's not, as is, like, I think is
Sure.
pretty obvious, he's not interested, he's not at the moment completely sold on that
Sure.
being a possibility or something he wants to do. So, but that's it. That's all that you missed.
Okay. Well, it is mid to late afternoon as these discussions wrap up. Your coin purse is quite a bit heavier as you exit the commander's tower down to the central courtyard of the Barracks of the Hooded Lanterns, you can see that Tobias is not here any longer, but the local blacksmith, or the Hooded Lanterns like blacksmith is here making repairs as needed, but nothing of like a custom nature is certainly being forged at this time. But you do see River at the edge discussing with Eldric at one of the northern gates of the barracks. And then you also see Elias issuing orders to Petra and Ansem, who are then divvying those out to the various sub-commander groups and battalions as you see them move in small units to and from the barracks at this time. What would you like to do?
They said they really couldn't offer up a whole lot right now as far as magical items. Did they say anything as far as like potions or anything like that?
Yeah, Eldric said they can offer up like scrolls, so casted, spells into scrolls that can be used by anyone, not just spellcasters or spellcasters of a certain type, and then also more unique potions. If there's something specific you're looking for, they have a wider variety of those. They just don't have like more definitive magic items at this time.
Got it. Okay.
And of course, they have a wide variety of healing implements and items of that nature as well, or basic utility type items as well.
Okay.
If there's something specific you're looking for, give me a use case and I can probably make that work. Or I can just give you kind of a shotgun variety of things you might be looking for.
Yeah, the only thing that I've been thinking of, and we haven't really run into it yet, would be some way to open doors. I don't know if I would, if my character would understand what, a knock spell is or anything like that.
I would think you would understand that there's some sort of spellcraft to unlock doors that were, or magical or unmagical locks. So I think you could definitely communicate that to. So if what you're ultimately looking for is like a knock spell, yeah, I think that's very easy and obtainable.
Yeah, that's essentially what I would want to talk to the people that are still around, see if they have anything like that available.
That seems relatively easy to come by. I think if you're looking for a one-time use scroll of knock in this case, it'd be 75 gold.
Easy, I'll take it.
I might just take a couple of large health potions. I think I don't have anything like that.
The greater health potions in this case right now are approximately 100 gold. And then superior would be 250.
Okay, could I get one of the superior and two of the others? So
Okay.
For a total of 450.
Yep, you got it. So two greater and one superior is what you can add to your.
That I would like to do the exact same thing.
Okay, same thing. You got it.
This is
Tim?
450 total.
Yeah, 450 total. So 100.
Yeah, 450 for 2 great, 1 superior.
Yep, you got it.
Cool. I'm down.
Done. Got it.
Yes, sir.
You can also see amongst the crates there are some oddly opalescent colored potions. You can see, Tim, you based on what you've discussed with Eldric and River over time, it looks like they've developed some sort of delirium-based powdering liquid And you see it, and as she kind of spies your eye looking at it, oh, this is a new sort of concoction we've brewed up. It's what we like to call aqua delirium. When the
Is it
need
the-
arises, you down a little bit of this. I wouldn't recommend more than one in a day, but in the need of a bit more of an arcane bolster, this will give you just what you need.
It's like the exact opposite of the Aqua Spurgo.
This is basically giving you back spell slots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, it sounded like something you wanted your enemies to drink. I was like, you know.
Wait, which one is this one?
It's called aqua delirium.
I have 2 on me already. What the
Did you?
fuck? I don't.
You might have gotten them
I-
in the past. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I have this. I have yet to take
That
one.
might have
but
been
I
the
have-
unrefined version, but they, have more refined it at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I see
You
the
also
spell
see
slots on
some similar looking viscous fluids with this kind of yellowishy hue to them. These give more of individual drive to one's abilities and, prowess in battle. Mechanically speaking, these are potions of heroism.
Okay.
These are 150 apiece. Special discount in this case.
Wait, what do they do again? Sorry. Oh, can I read that?
It basically gives you the concentration-free variant of the heroism spell.
Gives you hit points, right?
It is.
Yeah, 10 temporary hit points. I might be able to buy one of those as well.
Yeah, I believe it's.
You said
10.
150.
Yeah, 150 apiece.
And can I buy one, or is this only for Tim?
It's it for anybody.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna buy one of those as well.
Okay. Yeah, willing creature you touch is imbued with or you drink the potion. Until the spell ends, the creature is immune to being frightened, gains temporary hit points equal to your spell casting ability modifier. In this case, it would be, for their spell casting ability modifier, it would be a +5 at the start of each of their turns. So at the start of each of your turns until the effect ends, so this lasts for 1 minute or 10 rounds. So at the start of each round, you get an additional. If you lose any of those hit points, you get 5 hit points back. It just replaces those. They don't stack, but you get 5 hit points at the start of each round, or 10 hit points.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, free hit points is if you're taking damage. So up to basically a temp hit points up to 30 over the course of a 1 minute period, and you're immune to being frightened.
I bought one, but I feel like I'm gonna need a rundown when I use it again. But that's alright.
It should be in there.
In the
There's a
moment-
potion of
in the
heroism.
moment,
Yeah,
it's not
mine reads a little different, but I think I get it. Yeah.
Right.
In the moment, it's not that complicated. So
Yeah.
Right.
that's
It's like
what
a
I thought, yeah.
concentration-free version of heroism.
Yeah, it kind of feels like one of those things where I'm like, I'll know when I need it.
yeah. It'll be fine.
Cool.
You also see amongst these crates there are. Let me double check here. I forget. Where are they? I think you had these in the past. Let me double check and make sure. I know you've seen these. You see these like what looks like those spheres you used to touch your fingertips to, and it would like arc like a Tesla coil. It's like that, but it's in. You see inside, it's like there's a suspended piece of delirium in the center of this otherwise hollow glass orb. So it's similar to the solid glass Pearl of Power that Tim has, but this seems a lot more unstable. Oh, you've seen these before. These are what we like to call bottled comets.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a throwback.
Yeah, I believe you used one of these on the Lord of the Feast, if I remember correctly.
Sure did.
Yeah, it's like an arcane grenade, is what it is. It's also what the Queen of Thieves used to rob you all blind. Because she had a waist full of them. Or somebody she was directing had a waist full of them.
It made me so mad, too.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have a picture of these. I'll put it in chat later. Yeah, I have a picture. The picture's dope as shit. I forgot to send those to you. And they also have, you see those same sort of orangish syringes, in there as well. I don't know if you'll be needing these, but if you do, they're here. And there's more Aqua Expurgo if you, yeah, want to pick those up.
I can get one of these bottle rockets.
The bottled comets, those are 200 apiece.
Sign me up for 2, baby.
Okay.
Saw that coming.
I think that is everything as far as... Yes.
They're both the same thing, right?
Which one?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. There's 2. There's one specifically that mentions Dungeons of Drakkenheim, and then there's another one that doesn't.
Right. So one of them was probably one that I homebrew added that somebody made. But they're the same thing. They should be identical.
Okay.
Yeah, because before
you're right.
they
Yep.
actually added them, that this was all homebrew that somebody added.
Gotcha.
Shout outs to that dude, because I didn't have to add a bunch of those because I was not looking forward to that. Yeah, I actually have like 2 boxes of cards for if this is played with a physical, like an in-person campaign that I can just hand out to people, as opposed to that. Then it has like cool art and descriptions, but yeah, it's a bit harder to do or BTT. And with that, is there anything else you guys are looking for specifically that hasn't already been mentioned that you were looking to pick up, or you all but resupplied what you feel is necessary?
I'm good.
I'm absolutely good.
Is there anything that makes magic punches stronger? I think we're good. It would need to be something I don't attune to. So.
Right.
Where I can get like a jetpack added to the arm and just like
Yeah, something cool like that.
a little rocket.
Because I've got I have the ring that already adds the what do you call it? Radiant damage on things.
Right.
And then I've got the +1 hand axes, so like I use the hand axes less than I punch, so not that I really need anything.
nothing in that sort of vein at the moment that would fall in the arcane realm. No, because the effect I'm thinking of is more in the cleric spell domain, so this is not something that the Academy would produce or have access to. But if that's it, what would the party like to do?
I mean, are you ready to roll out?
Mm-hmm.
Think so.
How are we on time? Is anybody?
We're right
Anybody
about,
go anywhere?
we're creeping up on 3 hours here. So
Yeah, I think I got like probably about 45 in me, and then I might have to start. Yeah, I've got to get to the shops and stuff before they close as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what does this inn really look like? As far as like a time commitment, do you think, Stopper?
the inn itself could be 1, if not 2 sessions, I would imagine.
Oh
So,
Jesus, really?
yeah.
We're going to get one of the MacGuffins, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're going for a
Nice.
seal.
Nice.
This is some
This
intense
is
shit.
big.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if anything's like bled into 2.
You've
the
had a
clock
few.
I guess probably
yeah.
the tower, yeah.
The clock tower,
the
St.
Inscrutable Tower
Brenna's,
was.
the cathedral
garden
was
where we were
multiple
picking those
sessions.
flowers.
Yeah.
We've had a good number of them.
I would think most of the seals and or important, MacGuffin type things have all been at least 2 sessions. Or 1.5-ish. I mean, the Inscrutable Tower was like
That might have
3 or 4 sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I like thought of those as being big sessions, because of just what they are in the whole thing. This one's
Yeah,
like, hey,
this one kinda
here's a
snuck up
note
on
for an
us.
inn.
Yeah, this one kind of snuck up on us.
Go
You don't
here.
have to do this right now either.
Y'all can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, shit may happen, but I'm not stopping you. I'm just reacting to what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out lines here and seeing what you bite on.
And man, I love fishing. Like,
I mean, Balsamic, you've been a DM too. It's half of being a DM is just casting lines and seeing what people bite on.
Yeah, right.
I think, as I've said multiple times in this campaign, it's there are many different branching paths to this situation. But with that said, we can cut it conveniently here, or we can keep going for a little bit longer. It's up to y'all.
I'm in the camp to cut out because I'm barely hanging on here. So
It's understandable. Yeah, don't want
Yeah,
you
no, I
getting
got some
any.
stuff to do, so that works for me as well.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Okay.
so, yeah.
yeah, if we want to wrap
Okay.
it, that's fine.
Well, if that's the case, we'll just narratively, as you all exit the barracks of the Hooded Lanterns, heading eastward, I would imagine, we'll decide upon what path you want to take towards. Just so you know, King's Gate is on the map. You've seen it a number of times on these various maps within Elias's offices. And now, based on what the Hooded Lanterns have in the map that you have, King's Gate is number 2 on the map. Is in the far northeast corner of the city. So it is basically the opposite side of the city from where you are. So you can go through the heart of the city. You can go around the long way, around the crater. You can take some other path that you've taken thus far. It is entirely up to you guys. Each will have their own, potentials,
Is it on the inside or the outside of the gate? The inn that we're looking for.
Give me a history check, if you don't mind. Since you are... That was almost a beat.
It was almost.
Almost a nat 20.
Yeah, can you see what number it is?
Is it a 2?
It's not great, it's a
Yeah.
2. History,
Nah.
I'm not proficient, +2, so it's a total of 4.
Total
so
of
I don't
4.
remember. That's for sure.
You're not 100% certain. You don't really remember the Black Ivory Inn. Kind of outside your purview. So you don't quite remember. You just know, per the note, it's around King's Gate.
Yeah.
Which is the northeast corner, the closest to the Castle Draken, so hence the name King's Gate.
Which is fantastic. Love being close to Castle Draken.
It's also very close to Slaughterstone Square.
We did have a little bit of an issue the last time we got anywhere near there.
You haven't been anywhere. I don't think you've been anywhere near Slaughterstone Square. You heard rumors of what happens in Slaughterstone Square.
Oh yeah, we haven't gotten there
Slaughterstone
yet.
Square 14?
Yeah.
That's 14.
Okay, so we got the closest we got was 12. Okay, all right, yeah, because that's where we went.
Yeah, the clock tower is 12. You haven't been to Slaughterstone Square.
Okay, yeah.
But with that, as you all exit and decide as you exit where you are heading, what route, what you potentially might face, we'll go ahead and end it there for the evening.